For you are members of Rotaract Club of Harare and they have been joined by special visitors we have this afternoon. And as the Rotaract Club of Harare City, we are the club of choice and we have members dedicated and sworn to service above self. We do not have much time. I give you 20 minutes on vocational service. The members are eagerly waiting to hear from you. Over to you, Mr. Ken Sharpe.
Thank you, sir. I like to be on time and leave on time, so I will finish within 20 minutes. Thank you, everyone, for having me here today. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful to see a full house of people. I'm not sure how many members you have in this club.
We have just inducted 2 more.
Okay.
We are now 50.
50 members.
Yes, and you will be the 55th.
50 members. That's a good number, half a century. It ties in with our 2050 plan to put 1 billion bricks.
Okay.
So hopefully the same 50 members will be able to be here still to witness the 1,000,000th brick. But if you allow me to sit down so I can have a conversation rather than me standing up and giving you a speech, I would like to make this more of a conversation. And today I think my first question is, does everyone understand in the room the difference of what it means to live to work or work to live? Let me explain. So if you live to work versus working to live. Working to live is having an 8-to-5 job, getting paid a salary, doing something boring every day because you have to do it, because you want to put bread on the table for your family. And that's part of what you have to do to provide. And many of us are forced into that situation in our lives. But if we honestly ask ourselves the question, do I really want to work to live? Generally the answer will be, perhaps I'm miserable. Perhaps I hate this job. Perhaps the boss that I report to is terrible. And I should be doing something else with my time. So I would ask you all to examine yourselves. Are you living to work? Or are you working to live? If you're working to live, then change it. Because it's just a choice that you make. Where you can actually live to work. And I believe when you live to work, you're doing something that you love. Something that you're passionate about. Something that involves your complete concentration and focus every minute of the day, every hour of the day. It doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're doing something that you were naturally born to do. People are born gifted. Some are born with the gift of speaking. Some are born with the gift of sports. Some are born with the gift of academics. Others are born with the gift of serving. Today I want to talk to you about service. Because I know it's important as Rotarians in your commitment to this club. I believe service is the second, in this great speech that my team gave me, I believe it's the second act of service. The first one is club service. And vocational service comes second. But you know, when I think of vocational service and what it means, and I'm sure you all know this better than I do, it really comes back to what I'm asking you. That talent that you've been given, are you using it for the right reasons? Are you using your talent for the right purposes? Because when you apply yourself to use your talent for the right reasons and the right purpose, you will feel fulfilled. You will not be worried so much about how much you're getting paid at the end of the month or how much you're making in doing that. Because that sense of fulfillment is something in you that you know inherently you were born with. So whether you were born to be a leader, or you were born to serve, or you were born to play sports, or you were born to do business, each one of you knows what you have in you that allows you to deeply appreciate that talent that you can use to apply to a maximum degree in your life. And when you do that, your influence, your sphere of influence immediately increases. Because you're no longer just serving self. You're actually serving others. And I believe in the Bible. I'm a Christian. I'm sorry if that doesn't agree with any of you. But I speak from the heart. And I know that the Bible is clear on this. It says many are called, but few are chosen. And why are few chosen? Because those things that we're called in, sometimes we don't apply ourselves fully into them. And sometimes we're called to things that we don't really find ourselves matching our ability, our talent with that calling. And that's why you find the few that are chosen are the ones that have gone through the calling to discover themselves, have applied their whole heart using their God-given talents and gifts. So when I think of vocational service, I first ask the question, are you living to work or working to live? And if you're really living to work, then you're in the right place. Because you have that talent, that inherent ability within you to be able to maximize your service, not only for your immediate benefit, but for the benefit of all of those around you. You know, it's like a knock-on effect. It's a ripple effect, right? And I believe God blesses us so that we can bless others in turn. What would be the point of God Almighty, in charge of everything, who can give us anything we want, to bless us only for ourselves? Because He loves everyone. So the blessings He gives to us is actually so that we can be a vehicle for those blessings to flow through to impact the lives of others. And I truly believe that the more you do for others, the more you'll be blessed. It's logical, right? God has an abundance of everything. He's the God of all provision. So if He blesses us with one, that one cannot be magnified unless we do something about it into two. But when we magnify it into two and bless someone else, we then have a deficit because we've given up the one that we had. God has to replace the one. But what He tends to do is say, no, this person has the ability to bless, so let me give him 2 or 5 or 10. We know the story of the talents, right? The one who buried his talent and it was taken away, and God said, you unfaithful servant, get lost, I don't want to know you. But the one that returned 10 was given more. So I think it's the same in life, that when we look at our vocations, our jobs, our abilities, and we think on ways how we can use those to impact the lives of others, that's what I believe takes us from being a person of success to a person of significance. And in life, when you've achieved some success, you realize it's not enough. You need to do more. You may call it altruistic, you may call it wishful thinking, but I've seen it in my own life that being successful in your own right is one thing, but achieving significance and benefiting society and others is much greater. And you as Rotarians, when the 50 of you come together and you apply your combined energies, your combined talents, your combined gifts, I'm sure the impact will be much bigger than if you were just trying to do it on your own. So again, a warm welcome to you all Rotarians here in 2025. It's Goro Rino, or as they've corrected me, it's Rino Igori Rangu. The same motto was cascaded to the lowest level of all my workstations in the organization, and I extend the same to all of you here today. My name is Ken Sharpe. I'm the Chief Energizing Officer of Westprop Holdings. It's a title that I've embraced because I believe my job, my role, is not to manage people. You know, I went to an event where they gave me the Private Sector Leader of the Year about a year and a half ago, and it was the Institute of Management for Zimbabwe. I'm not a member of that organization. And they asked the question, what is the difference between managing people and leading people? Does anyone want to have a crack at that question? I got it right. I was the only one who got it right. I'm not an educated man, but I somehow knew what the answer was. The difference between managing people and leading people. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I think leading people is taking them to the vision when you've got the vision to start with, whereas managing is making them get there, sending them there.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, perfect explanation, right? It's giving them a belief in something, a vision, that they didn't know they could achieve on their own. That's what a leader does. He could lead from the front, could lead from behind, but essentially, he's showing someone that you have the potential to do something that you didn't know you could do. A manager, on the other hand, forces people typically to do the things they don't really want to do, or gets people to do the things they don't really want to do, or gets people to do the things they are expected to do. Whereas a leader gets people to do things that are extraordinary, things that are unexpected, things that the person didn't believe were possible. And that's bringing the best out of people. So that's why I like to call myself Chief Energizer, because I want to energize and motivate and encourage people to bring out their best. Today I'm privileged to speak to you about the vocational service, a cornerstone of Rotary's mission. It's a topic that speaks volumes to what I practice as an individual, to what our organization Westprop stands for. We take CSR really seriously. We give 10% of our profits away. My advising team, when we listed, told me it's impossible for a public company to give 10% of their profits away. The shareholders won't be happy. But if I told the shareholders, by giving 10% away, the profits will be increased, I'm sure they would be very happy. Vocational service is the second avenue of your services, as mentioned. It emphasizes the importance of applying your professional skills and expertise to serve others. As Rotarians, you must be committed to using your vocation to making a positive impact in our communities and the lives of others. At Westprop, we are committed to vocational service through school fees assistance, where scores of orphans and vulnerable children are assisted on a daily and monthly basis. I'm proud to see our Chief Financial Officer, the FD of West Group, Tsimba Kaji. He's also our chairman of our CSR. So he gets to see on a daily basis all the wonderful projects that we're doing. We assist widows, single mothers with business startups so they can look after themselves. We take student attaches with a vision of empowering them and giving them on-the-job training and infusing them in the culture of excellence that we have. At the moment, I think we have 5 or 6 on the ground, a lot of them university students. Late last year, we took a deliberate stance to employ within our ranks women. And generally, our policy is a 50% gender equality policy in Westprop. I'm proud to say Marilyn Moshe on my left is the Chief Marketing and Sales Officer, and we have an equal balance between women and men at the leadership at the helm of Westprop. So our team grew from originally 6 C-suite members, we're almost 10 now, and half of them are women. We also give women living with difficulties in hearing opportunities. We like to give opportunities to all and believe it's part of our responsibility to the community that brings us the business that we have. In 2023, we committed to rehabilitating Greenwood Park so that Harare residents could find a pleasant place to play and to have recreation. We provided benches, repainted them, bins, rehabilitated the children's play center, added a few traditional games like Pada and Nodu. These are things we did with no interest. We have absolutely zero interest in Greenwood Park. We don't own one property anywhere near Greenwood Park. But we just decided as a corporate citizen, let's do something for our community. And thank you. And it was embarrassing to say that our city fathers, the city of Harare, didn't come to meet us. At least we invited them, but we didn't see them coming and doing their part. Hopefully they will do it now and continue maintaining it. There's so much to talk about Westprop, but let me delve into why we should engage in vocational service. As Rotarians serving others, it brings integrity to what we believe in and what we stand for. And personal satisfaction. You know, I often say it's better to give than to receive. It's a selfish thing to give, actually. If you think about the Lord himself, Jesus Christ, he gave his life. But in return, he got everything. So when we give, it's actually benefiting the giver more than the receiver. And I've seen it in my life. By applying our professional skills to serve others, we demonstrate our commitment to integrity and ethical behavior. By serving others, we're able to engage with communities, understand their needs, and address or bring projects that serve their needs. Ladies and gentlemen, vocational service is not only about what you think and decide is important. It involves listening to those voiceless people in the back of beyond. They have needs that require capable hands and willing hearts to put into place and into practice. Esteemed Rotarians, by taking on vocational service projects, you develop your leadership skills, learn to work with others, and build your confidence. You become part of a transformational change that you want to see in the various communities and individuals you engage with. Mahatma Gandhi said, "Be the change that you want to see in the world." As a businessman, I've had the opportunity to participate in various vocational service projects. For example, recently I started to run an organization called the Sharpe Business Academy, SBA. And my graduates, we had 60 plus graduate in the first cohort in December last year. And I taught last night to 192 in cohort 2. We have 216 sign-ups, and hopefully the majority of them will graduate with an SBA diploma, as well as they get the opportunity to pitch at their graduation ceremony for a prize. Last year it was $10,000 for first place, $5,000 second, and $3,000 third. This year we're doubling it, so it's $20,000 for first, 10 for second, 6 for third. And that's a seed capital to give these young, most of them are young, aspiring entrepreneurs. It's the first entrepreneurship university in Zimbabwe. We're registering it to become a university. And I want to continue building that so that I can mentor more young men and women who are aspiring entrepreneurs, providing guidance and support to them to help them grow their businesses. The mentorship program involves giving skills training. We deliberately chose Harvard Business School. Fortunately, I didn't finish high school. I dropped out of school at O levels. But fortunately, Harvard saw my talent and invited me to a 3-year program, and I'm now an alum. I graduated at Harvard Business School 2 years ago. And as part of the privilege of being an alum, I'm allowed to use the case studies. I paid a fee for distributing them, but I choose at least 6 case studies each cohort, and every month I teach one of those business case studies to the students, where they can really learn practical skills from world-class businesses, different sizes, different industries, where professionals share their experience with one another, and more importantly, empowering them to use their skills to improve their livelihoods through the network. So I believe the Sharpe Business Academy, the SBA, will become an academy of thousands and potentially tens of thousands of graduates, of alums that can commit themselves to a network of business people in a community to do business with each other, to exchange ideas, and to empower each other to improve the country. Ladies and gentlemen, if we fully commit ourselves to serve others, using our various vocations, we can help build the Zimbabwe we want to see. Of course, we must set goals, targets, and craft vision statements of what we want to achieve. But let me just take a minute to say that I believe vision and mission statements are things that are put on walls, kept in files, and probably not looked at very often. But there's one thing that I teach at the SBA Academy that's the most important thing in business, and that's called a strategy statement. And I would encourage you as Rotarians to develop your own strategy statement. It's normally a long-term statement. It could be for 5 years, 20 years. Ours is to 2050. And it's a roadmap clearly defining what you want to do, by when you want to do it, and how you're going to get there. It gives everyone a very clear vision that they can live every day by. At Westprop, we've set ourselves to put in the ground 1 billion bricks, which is our vision statement, by 2050. The bricks translates into thousands of jobs, housing worth billions of dollars, improved gross domestic product, and destination marketing for Harare in Zimbabwe. As you may have heard, we're building the first USGA Championship golf course at Warren Hills. It's being rebranded to the Hills. We're $3 million into the project. Amazing things are happening there. If you look out on the social media feeds, you'll see some of the things that we're doing there. It's due to open next year in July, and we hope to host the PGA and bring international tourists here to Zimbabwe. As I conclude, I challenge each of you to identify one way you can apply your vocational skills to serve others. Whether it's through mentorship, skills training, or community development projects, let us work together to make a meaningful difference in our communities. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I have a minute and a half to spare, so I don't know if any questions or how you want me to use the extra minute and a half, but I'll give it back to you.
Oh, definitely you need to respond to questions. But another round of applause for... There you have it, fellow Rotarians, visitors, living to work or working to live. Where are you? It's the start of 2025. Where are you? And where are you going to be? It's out to be in between. All right. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes.
My name is Kirsty Sigara.
Yes.
Like, I'm one person who's so passionate about everything I do.
Yes.
Like, I have a vision. It goes into 30 years, and I live every day by that vision. I always tell my mom, since I was 15, like, that's when it started. Every day, what I do in the morning, I always, speak it into the universe, speak it into existence. One day I'm going to do it, one day I'm going to establish. And I feel like everybody should choose what they are passionate about, and you should live by those things that you're passionate about. And don't forget to write your vision. I write my vision almost every day, and I always submit it to God, because I know a vision is meant for provision. It is always meant to be established when the time is right. And when I started, I wanted to do so many things, and I learned one thing from Mr. Sharpe. He always tells me one thing, to my young lady, focus on one thing, and you build a monster from that thing that you're going to focus on. And that's what I've been working on. So, everyone, I know I'm the youngest here, but be passionate in everything that you do. Choose everything that you're passionate about.
Yes, we will acknowledge the presence of President Eugene, Rotaract Club of Harare. Yes, you can start.
No, thank you very much. There was no way I could miss this presentation. So, Mr. Sharpe, it was good to hear what I picked out. And also, in addition, I think your work, it extends. Even before I came to the meeting, I knew of some of the great things you've been doing. The work you've been doing on the church that's in Newlands, which is magnificent. And some of the things you've mentioned as well that you guys are actually doing as West Pro in terms of corporate social responsibility. You have a lot of things you are doing. How do you manage? Because I know you're very much a family person as well. I see some of your posts, with your daughters. I mean, it's very admirable. How do you manage to balance all this time, doing all these things?
Well, thank you, President. Maybe before you respond, can we have three more questions? 3 more questions, and then we respond. This is privilege.
Got a pen.
Because of one time. Privilege. Mr. Sharpe, we have Mr. Sharpe. Yes, sir. And your name?
Not that far. What I'm very curious on, given the economic hardships the country is currently facing, what would be your advice to entrepreneurs to keep them going in the midst of difficult times?
Thank you so much.
What is your name again, sir? Norbert
Norbert. Is another one, another question? Privilege? 2 questions only. Yes.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sharpe. My question is about living to work, and what happens when you live to work and you're giving and you keep giving, and with this economic situation in our country, you find in certain cases that you give and you're just doing the work that you love to do, but sometimes you don't get something back, and it does happen. You fail to also get the support that you need for you to carry on giving. And sometimes it might look, it's like trying to pour out of an empty cup. What is your advice?
Thank you. Last one. Yes, Rotaract Club.
Yes, my name is Rotaract Club. I wanted to find out, sometimes when we see results, what you have done, people remind us that there are battles which we haven't seen. Would you want to just summarize some of the challenges?
So Eugene, my senior. I think balance in life is a good question. Is it really possible? I personally don't believe that it's necessarily a question of balance. I think you must have some form of balance, of course. You can't be an unbalanced person, and it's a constant juggle and decision choices that we make in life. What are the things that we focus our time and energy into? But one of the things that we use at West Prop that I would say is a tool I would encourage everyone to use Part of the Harvard system is balanced scorecards. So that's appraising people regularly. We do a monthly appraisal, quarterly appraisal, and we do quantitative and qualitative measures to see how people are performing. But on a softer level, we do what's called a monthly self-check-in. It's called a SPARE. It's a self-performance evaluation review. And in that SPARE, we have what's called the life wheel. And on the life wheel, we've divided your life into 12 segments. So it could be 4 segments, it could be family, business. We've designed it in 12, which is more detailed. And what we ask the person to do is identify on a scale of 1 to 10, how much energy you're applying into each one of those spheres of your life. So it's a question of time, because energy and time are correlated. But it's also a question of commitment. You cannot possibly be 100% committed to all the areas of your life all the time. It's impossible. You'll burn out. So what's important, though, is to understand and become self-aware of where you are at the scale of each one of those segments. So, for example, if one of the segments was your marriage, all right, maybe you're failing as a husband or as a wife to do for your partner what you should be doing. Maybe you don't have enough time. And so long as you're assessing yourself and you know on a scale of 1 to 10, perhaps you're a 3. A 1 would be dangerously close to lawyers, maybe, or counseling. But perhaps you're a 3. So you're aware, okay, maybe next month I need to focus more on my relationship. And that just makes you self-aware, okay, you start pushing yourself in that direction. So because I designed it, I'm constantly aware of it. I don't necessarily fill it out and give it to someone every month. I encourage our staff to do it and report to the immediate superior on a monthly basis, so that person who's involved in your life at workplace, we talk of working more hours, we spend more hours in our life at the workplace than anywhere else. So that's your immediate kind of mentor, guide, your immediate superior. At least they can hold you accountable and say, okay, it's a choice, you choose where you go. But this is what's happening. This is a reflection of where you are now, and then you set a goal for next month. So I'm at a 3 now, but I want to be at a 5 or a 6 next month. Go in that direction. So that's one of the tools. The other thing I think in my personal life is really to apply myself spiritually. Every morning I like to have routine, and I'm quite disciplined about things. So I like to wake up early, sometimes 5 o'clock, sometimes 6, and spend time with the Lord. In prayer, meditation, I journalize, and that's time where I feel that I recover and I have a clear idea of what it is that I'm grateful for in my life and where I need help from God during the day. And then I like to also say probably it's important to exercise and to eat right and sleep right. So a healthy mind, requires a healthy body and a healthy spirit. We're not just the separate entities, we are all in one. And I think it's important to find time for yourself as well, to invest in yourself. So a challenge I made for myself on this weekend, I had a team and they'd been waiting 2 months to put in the stair climber, which weighed more than a ton. So they had to pull it up on almost like an Egyptian wooden railing system on a pallet. And there were about 10 guys that pulled it up and got it into the room. And eventually they got it installed. And I said to them, to thank you guys, I'll do 10,000 steps today, which I estimated to be 500 flights of 500 floors of climbing. So I started it, and I didn't manage to find time on Saturday, but I started on Sunday evening. And I didn't realize it would take 3.5 hours. It took 3.5 hours to do. So I challenged myself to finish it, which I did. And I'll often do those things in life, whether it's climbing a mountain or a challenge like that, just to make sure that I'm still committed to myself. Because at the end of the day, you're only accountable and responsible to yourself. Coming on to the next question from Norbert. Difficult times, how to keep going. I would say some of the things I've already said, Norbert, that you need to stay healthy, both mentally, which requires physical health, spiritually, which requires some form of faith, and probably emotionally, which means that you need to take care of yourself with whatever you find emotional balance in your life. But I think more importantly than staying healthy, because when the times get tough, you need your health more than anything else. And I think more important than that, you need to have something bigger than yourself. In my case, it's living for 2050. This is a vision that I really believe in. 1 billion bricks is no joke in any country. $5 billion in today's value is no joke in any country. And by then it will probably be $30 billion. So I know that it's not about the money for me. It's about the impact it has on the community, on the country. And I've seen the ripple effect already of so many others doing what we're doing that we started 7 years ago now, and the whole country is being rebuilt. You can see almost everywhere, not only in Harare, in every city of Zimbabwe, improvements. And I think as we continue to find those things that motivate us to look further than ourselves and project them into the future, it's easier to deal with the current. So when we have potholes on the roads, I don't even look at them. When there's complaints about electricity or water, I don't even consider them. Because I'm not living today, I'm living in the future. I can see a time where there's no more potholes in the road, where we are able to provide water for our own residents and sewage solutions for our own residents. So that's really how I keep going, and I would encourage the same thing to those younger people, perhaps that don't have jobs, that don't have, you know, a means to an end. I would encourage them to stay focused on the future. I often say we sell hope at Westprop because we really are selling something that's not tangible. You can't see it today. It's hope in a better future. And then to the lady who says it doesn't add up sometimes when you live to work and you have that empty cup. I believe, you know, those are things we experience in life. But the cup is not really ever empty. There's always something in it, even just if it's a drop, because you're breathing here today. If you weren't breathing, then maybe you didn't have anything left. But you're breathing. So that's a start, right? The air you have is free. Your cup is not that empty. You can see me. You can hear me. Many can't. Many have no sight, no hearing. Many no voice. Many can't even breathe. They're using machines to keep them alive. So I think the cup that we look at depends on ourselves. It's our own perception. You know, if I ask you, is this cup almost empty, half full or half empty? Right? You could say to me, it's almost empty. Or you could say, there's enough in there. It's half full. Someone said to me once, I have a positive attitude in life, and I said to this person who's a leader in his own right, and I said to him, you know, I always look at life as my cup half full. He said, you're wrong. It's actually overflowing. So I said, why is that? He said, because the half that you can't see is the grace of the Lord that fills it for you. So don't live by what you can see. You know, faith is to believe in things you can't see. And then to love more, talking about results and battles. You know, I think you're right that the results we see today, we think just fell out of the sky. Or somehow the guy got lucky, or somehow he stole something, or he was dishonest, or government gave him a tender that was at a higher price. Those things happen. I don't want to say they don't. But I think behind every success, there's a story of sorrow, of pain, of struggle. And in my own story, I think for a long time, I wasn't able to speak the story because people really didn't understand me. They didn't get what I was doing. And I had a lot of opposition. At one time, I think I had 34 or 35 cases in court at the same time. That's the Magistrates Court, High Court, Administrative Court, and Supreme Court. All the courts of Zimbabwe. And probably up to 10 lawyers fighting the cases. So it would be probably possible to think that you could get lost in that or destroyed in that. And probably it could happen. If you were to put money on it, the probability is you would say he's going to lose. So the fact that I didn't lose any cases and I'm sitting here today, I think is a miracle. But it also shows that those cases were not the things that I was focused on. Because I think you tend to focus on what takes you to where you need to go. And I knew that in most of the cases we were absolutely right. I don't want to say we've always been right because it's impossible to always be right. We're all sinners. But in the majority of the cases, I knew that we were right. We had the law on our side. And I knew that it would work out. So we persevered. But it didn't stop me from doing what I was supposed to do. And I think that's the important lesson to learn, is that when you're going through the battle, you know, choose your battles. They say you have one war, but several fronts or several battles that you fight. You can't fight all the battles at the same time. But so long as you know what the war is that you're fighting, and I knew clearly what the war was and where it was going to take me. Therefore, I chose the battles based on that. Yeah, I don't know if that's an answer to you, if you want more details, but I'm happy to share more.
Thank you so much, Sharpe. Thank you so much. We have shot past 2 o'clock. But needless to say, just give us 6 to 10 minutes. I'd like to call upon Rotaract Steve, Steve Margolis, just to show the appreciation for Mr. Sharpe. He came, we have him.
Thank you very much. I will stand up as well. I'll be sitting. I hope you can all hear me. I would say Rotarian to be Ken. I think the president is looking forward to that. Thanks for coming, and thanks for giving us these words that are very clear, very sharp, and hoping that some of us will pick up from there and also leave this work to live and come back to live to work. So that's a very nice message that I'm sure everybody will take home, maybe to their children, their families, their friends, if they don't want to do it themselves. I'm happy that you are doing a lot of community support. It's very important. And that's what Rotary is all about. It's also community support. Here we have a project, some of you may not know, $850,000 that has come from World Vision, $400,000, Rotary Club in America, $400,000. And so we are helping people each money. It's a project. The Americans are coming next month. He is the champion and his deputy in that project. So we're running fast to try and get things happening. So Rotary is all about giving and serving other people. And you are doing exactly that. And that's why I said you are already Rotary in this case. I'm also happy to hear that you are bringing in this PGA golf course. It's very important. We play golf, some of us enjoy it. And that will definitely market. So you're already a marketing person. That's even bigger marketing for the country, not just for your West Pro. So thank you very much, and hopefully you'll be back and talk to us again.
Thank you.